Guys, it's going down this weekend at UFC 294 with Makhachev stepping into a rematch with Volkanovski. My partners at DraftKings are offering an incredible offer for all new customers who sign up using the promo code Sonnen. New customers who bet just $5 on any of this weekend's fights will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. You can even use your bonus bets on DraftKings same fight parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including number of rounds or method of victory. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Johnny just has a very interesting career. I'm not picking Johnny to win. But that's also not what I'm looking for in this fight. There is some massive drama. I don't know of anybody whose stock and whose career is going to be or potentially will be affected more based on the outcome than Johnny Walker. If Johnny is to beat Ankalaev, and that's a big if. As a matter of fact, let me go a step further. And I only want to make this clear, not to give Walker a hard time. I want to make it clear because this is a Walker piece. I'm saying this in support of Walker, but the reality of the situation is the lock of the main event, right? I mean, somebody comes and Chael, you've got to get one right or else something really terrible happens. Ankalaev. That is the safest bet on the entire main card. Okay. But Johnny Walker's the bigger star. If Johnny Walker is to beat Ankalaev, he is in talks and likely for the time being leading the talks for number one contender. For the next opponent to take on the winner of Yuri versus Alex Pierre. I don't know if that will hold up. I don't know when Jamal's coming back. Other guys are going to have a say in it. Lionheart's not going to lay down, but I'm just bringing to you, it will put him in that good of a position. It'll be that big of a deal. The other side of the coin is if he loses, as he's expected to do by the odds makers, it is highly unlikely that we have this conversation again within his career. Because this is the third time. This is the third time we're having that conversation. It's very rare that you get 3 times with this level of narrative. 3 times that you can be pushed up the card this high after experiencing those lows. And I'm just keeping my eye on that. I mean, one thing about it, Johnny Walker is fantastic, but there's positions. And they're not positions that he doesn't understand. Shabazian has the exact same issue with the exact same position. Darren Till has the exact same issue with the exact same position, where if you go watch these 3 guys, you're going to come to a conclusion they need work in this position. Show them how to get to an underhook. Show them how to get to their opposite hip. Show them that their head can't be down. It needs to be up as they gain elevation, right? And that's always the key. And it takes a lot till you get a guy to understand that, no matter how simple that might have sounded. That might be the conclusion you come to, but you're a little bit wrong. All 3 of those guys will agree with everything that I just said. You get the underhook, you get the hip, you get your head in a good position. They're like, there's only one way to get out of there. It's not that they don't know how to deal with the position. That position frustrates them. When they get there, it flips a switch. It's a mental battle. So one spot they don't want to be. And when they get there, something about that environment creates a frustration. And then fight or flight steps in. Right? The one thing that separates cage fighters from people that can't cage fight, just simply can't get in there and do it, is fight or flight. Plenty of people have been in fights, but that's spontaneous. Spontaneous. Showing some bravery or courage or rage or defense or whatever you want to call it is very different than agreeing to wait. Regardless of how you feel and regardless what your emotions are. Going out, turning it on, defending yourself, it's very different. And fight or flight doesn't just happen before the door. That's for most people. But then the fighter themselves, even within the battle, will still be faced with fight or flight when they get put in a spot, scenario, position, or an adversity. Your job as the opponent is to expose which ones those are. But if you look at Johnny Walker, and you could look at Shabazian, you could look at Darren Till, I just bring them in just because it's the exact same position. It's not that technically they don't know how to deal with it. that creates a frustration. And I'll share with you, that's the big battle. I don't think you're going to catch Johnny Walker in a submission. I don't think it's very likely. A lot of people think Ankalaev's going to submit him. I do not. And it's not very likely that you're going to knock him out. You're going to have to catch him. He's big, he's tall, he can keep range, he's dangerous, he comes in with some awkward stuff. I mean, Johnny Walker is a handful, but he has a position where mentally he checks out for a moment. And a brief moment is all it takes. I remember a coach of mine, Coach Roy Pittman, would see young wrestlers lose their focus, and they'd only lose their focus for a second. And Coach Pittman would tell them, do you know how long a second is? Do you not think a second's a long time? There'd be a lot of young guys going, a second's not very long. Coach Pittman said, all right, go home, turn your stove on. Wait till that burner gets red hot. Put your hand on it for 1 second, and then come back and tell me that's not a long time. And it would just provide those examples. And Johnny is in a very interesting spot. It's interesting because he is the much bigger star. I feel as though the organization has been very clear about pushing Ankalaev. They had the opportunity. They put him in a title fight. Could have kept him in that same position, a rematch to match that was a draw that I would think calls for a rematch. I mean, the Bullet and somebody just got a draw, so they just go, oh, we're going to rematch it. That sounds right to me. It seems like the way you would do it. It seems like business is unfinished. No, hell, threw both of them aside, brought somebody brand new in. I mean, I'm just saying their opportunity to push him was there, and they passed on it. Johnny's red hot. Crowd pops for him. They love him. But he's in a position where he's going to fight a guy that's good at what Johnny is not good at. And as far as drama goes, high risk, high reward. Nobody's stock can go higher with a victory than Johnny's on this entire card. But nobody's fall will be quite as steep either. It's a high risk game. Johnny earned it, right? I'm putting a lot of pressure on him, but you got to earn pressure. You got to do something to get people's attention to earn it. I wish him the best. But as far as the ins and outs of the fight go, that's secondary to the drama, at least for me.